Morning, folks. I'm just going to use this comment to start my morning video. We will actually get to the actual comment in just a moment. There it is. Plug in the blender. And get the blender cup. No, dos, three. Oh, damn it. Okay. Ketovie. Once again, I'm not on this formula because I'm doing keto. I'm only on this formula because it's the only one in Ontario that is on the approval list that is not made with whey protein or any source of cow's protein, and it's not made with amino acids, and it's not an infant formula. Okay. Now, where did I just put the... Oh, wait. Now we gotta do 1 scoop of protein powder. Okay, so this person says, I'm not judging you on your appearance, first off. I wasn't trying to say it in a negative way. When I said I'm probably not as heavy as you think I am, because of the fact I carry all my weight here and here, I look a lot bigger than I actually am. I am not by any means saying that I do not weigh a lot, because I do. I weigh too much for my liking, and I am working on it. Now, it is a very slow going process, and we're going to talk about it. So it says that they had a close friend fasted for 30 days. She was severely overweight and lost 60 pounds and reversed diabetes and is off all her medication. But keep following doctor's orders even though they don't work, is what they told me. So first off, I've been told to, if I'm going to fast, like after, first off, go off my insulin pump. Secondly, they told me 24-hour fasting only. They've told me they do not want more than that. Secondly, she may have gone off her medication. That just means she's in remission. I am a firm believer, as with science, there is no reversing diabetes. There is no cure for diabetes. You can get to a state where you don't need any medication. That doesn't mean you're cured of your diabetes. It means you're in remission. It's just like there is no cure for cancer. The cells are always in your body. Anyways. As for those telling me just drop down to 2 cartons a day, and that will help because I'll be in a further calorie deficiency. Sure. Yes, you're not incorrect that I would then be in a further calorie deficiency because each carton, I don't even remember how much a carton is, but it's like, one moment, let me figure it out. So each carton has 380 grams of each carton has 380 calories. Then my protein powder is 110 per scoop. So in total, it's 1,250 calories. Now, if I got rid of the protein powder, my calories would be at 1,140. However, then my protein is only going to be 24 grams of protein in a day. And according to my dietitian, that is not anywhere close to enough. Now, if I were to cut down to 2 cartons a day and still do my protein powder, First off, my dietitian's probably going to want me to up that. But let's, for right now, not even go there. 760 and then 110, so that would be 880 calories in a day. Great. I would probably lose a lot of weight going down to that few calories a day. But what people are not taking into account is nutrients. So yes, calories are important, of course, right? You eat too many calories, you don't move enough, you're not going to lose any weight, you're going to put on weight, you're going to just be very unhealthy. I understand that's how that works, but you also have to consider my vitamin levels and my other nutrient levels. Because I am not intaking anything else, this is where I get all my nutrients from. This carton is every nutrient I get outside my multivitamin, which wouldn't be enough. The multivitamin itself would not be enough to compensate for the lack of nutrients from going down to 2 of these. Once again, keep in mind, my dietitian wanted me on 6 a day. I said that would be way too many calories. If I went on 6 of these a day, she wouldn't want me on the protein powder then. It would just be the formula. It would be 2,280 calories a day. Way too much. Then she's like, okay, what if I knock it down to 4? That's still way too much. We're still very close to that 2,000 mark. And so I managed to convince her to go down to 3. Now, at first, she also wanted me to do 3 scoops of protein powder. She wanted me doing 1 scoop of protein powder per carton. And I was doing so. Then I got my blood work back. And it said I had protein in the urine. Now, she says that wouldn't be caused from overtaking the protein powder. I don't know if it would or wouldn't, but I told her, well, I would like to drop the amount of protein powder that I'm using. And so she said, okay, you can go down to 1 a day. So we're in agreement, 3 cartons of formula and 1 scoop of protein powder. Now, if I were to only go down to 2 a day so that I could get my calories down, again, that's going to get my calories down, but I'm going to end up in some sort of vitamin deficiency or some sort of malnourishment. It will happen. I know none of you guys believe that, and sorry, I'm not actually including you in this. I just mean in general. Some people do not believe fat people can become malnourished. But fat people can absolutely become malnourished. And it can happen very quickly because we're already not got the best nutrients, or how do you say that? Like, for the most part, some of us, well, usually we're not healthy to begin with. And so it wouldn't take much to become malnourished. But I am working on trying to lose weight. I am very frustrated. When I went to bed last night, I decided to give myself a weigh-in. Just like, fuck it, I haven't weighed myself in a few days. Let's just see where I'm at. I was 335. Fuck yeah. Alright. I'm heading back down. This is excellent. So then I'm like, okay, well, that was after being awake all day on my tube all day and everything like that. So this morning I get up, do my bathroom stuff, and then I decide to weigh myself. And it says I'm 337. What the fuck? How do I gain 2 pounds overnight? So it's frustrating. It's frustrating because I feel like I'm doing everything I can do, aside from not following dietitian orders and dropping down to 2 cartons a day. But here's the thing. When I was on the Similac, I was only doing 960 calories a day. Now, yes, I wasn't on it just the formula. I was on tubes for a little bit, like a week at a time. Then I could eat, going through flare-ups and whatnot. Who knows what it would look like now, but I'm not going back to infant formula. But if I couldn't lose weight on the infant formula with 960. All right. So I got my Tylenol in there. Got my multivitamin. So, like I say, it's not that I don't hear folks and their suggestions, but going down to only 2 cartons of formula a day does put me in a good calorie place, but does not put me in a good place nutritionally. I have to follow dietitian orders. If I go against dietitian orders and she can figure that out in blood work for when I have blood work done, then I'm going against her medical advice, and she's not going to continue to sign off on me being on this formula. Now, I know some of you would be like, oh, that would be a good thing. Then you just pull your tube and then you eat like a normal human being. That still doesn't solve the problem. So as I said, right now, I wouldn't be able to afford my own groceries. And I am not Joe's responsibility. He's also on limited funds, right? Yes, he works full time. Yes, he makes good money, but that is money for him and his son. Now, he wouldn't see me starve, so obviously he would help out. Now, I know staying starved is like, ha ha ha, you're not going to be starving for a long time, lady. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he wouldn't see me do without, so I know he would still help out. But then what's he doing without? What's his son doing without? And I'm not okay with that. So, unfortunately, when you are on disability only, they don't give you enough to live on. Not with the price of rent these days. Once I start working January again, I'll be able to afford stuff again. For right now, I have to live on very limited funds. Alright, grab a syringe. So, again, it's not me being stubborn. It's not me not wanting to listen to people. It's me following dietitian orders, following doctor's orders, following my diabetic nurse's orders. I have to listen to these people. Now, this person also just said, maybe I need a new medical team. Perhaps. But where I'm at, where I live, there is nobody else. Trying to get a new family doctor is next to impossible. There is no other endocrinologist in town at this time. My dietitian, there's only like 1 or 2 other dietitians in that facility, whatever, which is, I don't have a choice where I go because I have to go where it's government paid for. Because I certainly couldn't afford to pay for a nutritionist or a dietitian or anything like that. So, I have to listen to my doctor's orders. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, if your doctor's causing you harm, why would you listen to them? Because if I don't, then yes, the tube has to come out. Which then puts me in a predicament of, how am I taking my meds? How am I getting proper nutrition? Now, I know there's going to be people that say, take your meds like a normal person, swallow them. Except just because of the fact I'm no longer using the tube because I hypothetically don't have the tube, doesn't mean that my delay in swallowing goes away. And then here comes the, well, she can swallow a piece of pizza or she can swallow a chicken wrap. She doesn't have a delay in swallowing, except I do. It doesn't happen every single time. It's called a delay. It's not a every single time she swallows she's going to choke, but it does happen more often than not, especially with pills. Especially like my Gravel at night, it sticks in my throat. No matter how much I can pre-wet my throat, like take a big gulp of water, and then take the pill and then swallow it with water, or I could put water in my throat and then throw the pill in like some people do. It still just does not like to go down. I choke on that every time, and it tastes so gross after it starts to melt. And it's also not going to change that I still have gastroparesis, which is delayed in emptying, which means I go back to eating, I'm going to have a lot more bouts of vomiting again, like I did when the tube was first placed. And people seem to think I fought for the tube. I wasn't the one that fought for the tube. I had zero knowledge on feeding tubes when I went into the hospital and was finally put on a feeding tube. That wasn't done by me. That was done by the hospital dietitian. She was the one that fought for me to be on the tube because she said that I needed the nutrition. She put herself on my care. She was the one that was fighting for the feeding tube. I was along for the ride. And yes, I was happy to get the feeding tube. People have commented on that all the time, saying nobody's happy to get a feeding tube. You would be. If you were consistently throwing up because of the fact every time you ate or drank, it just was not sitting and you'd throw it up, you would be ecstatic to know that you were going to get nutrition because you watched your mom wither away and nearly die from not being able to eat. And so you're extremely happy that that's not going to happen to you. Granted, she was about 100 pounds lighter than I was when it happened to her. I still watched her wither away, and I almost lost her. So yes, I was happy that I was going to be getting some form of nutrition. I was happy that somebody was listening to me when I said something's not right. And look, here we are, 4 years later, 3 years later at the time, and I have a diagnosis of gastroparesis. And that's another thing that people didn't get. They're like, why are you happy that you have gastroparesis? I'm not happy I have gastroparesis. What I'm happy about is that we finally have a diagnosis for what has been going on this entire time. And that's important to know. It's important because there are some things that I wouldn't have been eligible for to even think of if it wasn't for the diagnosis, like the GPOM surgery. I wouldn't have been a candidate for that without the actual diagnosis. Even if we were already treating it like gastroparesis, even if, I had all the signs and symptoms of gastroparesis, without that official diagnosis, that procedure is off the table. I've been approved for that surgery. I've been told it's about a year wait, unfortunately. So, in the meantime, I just got to do what I can do. Then, once I have that surgery, if it's successful, which fingers crossed it will be, at that point the tube will come out, and at that point I will be able to eat and have no issues. So that's where I'm at. I have to stick to the 3 cartons and 1 scoop of protein powder for right now. When I see my family doctor and we discuss my lab work, I will talk to him about potentially removing that scoop of protein. By removing that scoop of protein, I knock off 110 calories, so now I'm down to 1140. That might help. I can also talk to him about dropping the 1 carton. However, he's going to tell me to talk to my dietitian about that because of nutrients. I can hear it. That's something you have to take up with your dietitian. The protein powder, the only reason he could tell me not to take that is if he agrees that I'm getting too much protein. So I appreciate the advice. I am hearing you guys, but for right now, I have to stick with doctor's orders.